Welcome to the 2020 New Testament Challenge. Today we're in Luke chapter 13. It's interesting to note that in the book of Luke there are 26 miracles that are recorded. 7 of these 26 deal with demonic influence. This is one of those here in chapter 13. A woman has been suffering from a spirit for 18 years. She is in the synagogue and Jesus is speaking. He sees her in the synagogue and he calls her up front and he says to her, "Woman, you're free from your infirmity." And then he lays his hands upon her and she's able to straighten up for the first time in 18 years and she praises God. All the people are excited, but the synagogue leader, he is indignant and he says, "There are 6 days in the week to get healed. Come on those days, but not on the Sabbath." Jesus is not happy at all. And he looks at the synagogue leader and those in the synagogue and he says, "You do work on the Sabbath. If an ox falls into a ditch, don't you immediately get it out?" But this woman has been under bondage for 18 years. Shouldn't she be healed on the Sabbath? Satan attacks people in many different ways, and he holds them in bondage through many different things. Sometimes it's through addictions, sometimes through immorality, sometimes selfishness or self-righteousness, sometimes unbelief or lusts and desires of the flesh. The good news here as we're reading Luke chapter 13 is that Jesus came to set us free. He cares. This synagogue leader didn't care about that woman, and he was more interested in following the rules and tradition than the fact that she was set free. Compassion always cuts through hard hearts. That synagogue leader had a hard heart, and Jesus confronted him. The truth that we need to understand in this section is that time matters not to Jesus. She was in bondage for 18 years, but in a moment, she was set free. Whenever we are dealing with something, even if for years, the good news is that Jesus can set us free. The second is that Jesus came to set people free. Whatever we're dealing with, whatever things that we are struggling with, Jesus is the answer. He's the one that we need to turn to. He has the power to set us free. And then when we have God work in our life, what should our response be? Just like that woman. Praise God for his goodness and his faithfulness. God is worthy of all praise, honor, and glory. He does things that man can never do. That synagogue leader said, "Come to the synagogue on the days of the week to get healed." She never was healed. But when Jesus was there, she was set free. Jesus is here and he can set us free today. Thank you for joining the 2020 New Testament Challenge.